We welcome everybody to the south end zone of Kyle Field. It is time for the October Yell and Review. Just one day left in October. That means it's time to trick or treat tonight. I hope everybody stays warm. We always stay safe on Halloween night. Stay
candy.
warm tonight too. And we can eat this.
I knew you were going to pass
Matt,
this out.
our producer.
You're not going to
man.
answer eating milk duds.
No.
I know that.
Can't do
that
it.
Would be tough. That'd be tough.
They stick in your teeth.
That would take you the half hour to
Exactly.
finish up.
Will and I were joking, like, would it be really rude if we start eating this candy while you're talking? Like,
no.
I'm sorry, Ross.
It
What
looks
was that?
good.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, look, you dressed up as a radio announcer. You dressed up as a sideline reporter. I dressed up as an AD. So these are our costumes.
We're in costume. Yeah.
We're in costume today. This is it.
It is.
Some people think that we're in costume.
Hey, we kind of
All
are.
the time.
We kind of are.
Here we go.
I'm waiting for Andrew to take off your mask.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Can you take that off? See, you have to be like, so you got your football costume on today.
Yeah.
And then think about next week.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put your basketball costume on.
I know.
Because basketball season's here. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool for
It's
you.
crossover season,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is.
Great-
crossover
great
season.
time of year.
No doubt. So it is Ross, Bjork, Andrew Monaco. I'm Will Johnson. The October Yell and Review goes off on Halloween. As always, if you have a question for Ross in the future, submit it at the official website of Texas A&M Athletics, 12thman.com/askross. And that crossover season, we're kind of going to begin there because let's start with our fall sports kind of winding down. I mean, volleyball, football, soccer. Soccer's playing today in the SEC tournament. Cross country, you got swimming and diving going. Equestrian is going. And then the two sports about to crank up. We'll get to that in just a second. But we could start every Yell and Review by saying time flies. Here we are with a lot of our fall sports heading down that important home stretch of their seasons.
Yeah, we go from 95 degrees on Saturday at the football game to 45 and raining on Monday, and here we are on Halloween night. It's going to be chilly tonight. So yeah, I mean it does go by so fast, and I think you look at soccer. We were in the hunt for an SEC West title, but yet our RPI is only I think 48. 40. Mm-hmm. We've been kind of in the 40s all year, so we've been kind of on the doorstep. Lots of opportunities. A lot of one goal. One-score matches, and hopefully today we can play well and beat South Carolina. They're a tournament team already. If we win this game, then I think it puts us in a position to be an NCAA tournament team. So we're kind of a bubble team. Volleyball has been phenomenal. I mean, the crowds have been awesome. They've had some unbelievable upsets and wins, on the road and at home. In our RPI, we've been in the 20s, and so we're right there in the mix to be a tournament team. In Jamie's first year, the job he's done, we have the number 2 ranked recruiting class for the class of 24. So just a lot of momentum in volleyball, and I hope we seem to kind of hit a wall a little bit, and that's part of growing a program and building a program. So hopefully we can get through that and finish strong and make a good run into postseason. And cross country, we had 2 great finishes on the men's and women's side at the SEC meet last week, and so cross country had a good fall, and we'll have some NCAA opportunities on the individual side there as well. And then football's 5-3. Hopefully, break that road streak. We were talking about that a little bit off the air. The last time we won a road game was an 11 o'clock road game. We played 11 o'clock Saturday at Ole Miss. And, our guys are focused on you've been around the team. You're around the team, Will. Guys are focused to, kind of prove some doubters wrong, win some road games that we haven't been able to kind of get over that hump and, finish with a lot of momentum, going into November and the bowl season. Here we go down the stretch.
Yeah. So football, like Ross said, at Ole Miss this weekend. For volleyball, a couple of home matches coming up this weekend. Friday, they host Alabama. And then on Sunday, they have Auburn at Reed Arena. So important time for them as well. You mentioned cross country, swim and dive, equestrian. It's all there.
There's lots happening.
Yeah.
Swim and dive is so early. You don't think, we're not in the championship segment. Same thing with equestrian. It's a fall and a spring semester sport. But off to a good start in both those. We upset Tennessee in both men's and women's swimming last week, and equestrian's had some good wins already. So Lots happening
Lots.
in Aggie athletics.
And it doesn't quit because then comes the crossover. Monday night, Reed Arena.
I know.
Texas A&M men's basketball opens their season against A&M Commerce. That's going to be a 7 o'clock tip. Then go forward to next week, Thursday, November 9th. Joni Taylor and the women's basketball team starts their season. That's against A&M Corpus Christi. So there's a lot. What's more than a lot? I mean, we're overflowing with events here.
Yeah, the men's team's gotten a lot of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, preseason, pick number 2 in the SEC. We've got Wade Taylor, preseason SEC Player of the Year, and that, to me, that won't bother these guys. They're so locked in and so dedicated. They're not going to be reading all this stuff. They have confidence, which you need to have, but yet they'll take it in stride, and obviously Buzz will do a great job with them and leading them through that. And so, to me, that's not going to bother them. But our non-conference schedule on the men's side, people say, boy, you have to schedule up, in basketball in the non-conference. We have done that and then some. And so it's going to be a challenge, but our guys are built for it. A lot of veteran players, a lot of production coming back. On the women's side, I think people are going to be really, really pleasantly surprised when they see our team, they see our roster, they see the talent. We're going to have to, grow and build into that. Joni was talking the other day. She was kind of joking. She was like, our team thinks we're good, which is a good thing, but yet we haven't played anybody. We're just playing ourselves right now. So we have confidence because there's a lot of talent, but yet we got to go out and prove it and play together. And we've had some scrimmages that you can't talk about, but we've done well on the women's side. And so I think people will be pleasantly surprised when they see that team roll out next Thursday and be like, oh, okay, that's what's been happening in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
That's the improvement of the returners, but also the new additions. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've sold a lot of tickets in both sports, so I think Reed Arena is going to be a fun, energetic place to be this year. So get your tickets if you don't have them. And I know our students are already talking about, camping out for some of the big games, and even in the non-conference schedule, camping out for some of those games. So it's going to be a lot of fun as basketball cranks up.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about the men's team as far as scheduling up, Andrew, game 2 after this opener is at Ohio State. I think what they're going to do in Orlando at that Classic, that's a pretty incredible bracket. You get the rematch with Penn State of your first-round NCAA tournament game. If you can beat them, you're likely going to go up against FAU, the Final Four darling last year, and they've got most of their guys back. I mean, you're talking home games against DePaul and Memphis. You're going to go down to Houston to play Houston. They'll be fun to follow kind of from the jump, won't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Just to me, Buzz was asked that. He had his first radio show last night. I asked him and how he feels. He said, I don't know, maybe I should resign because I put this together.
I know he's talked about that.
Yeah, he jokes about that. But I think, to your point, Ross, with the experience and the leadership coming back, I think that's important. And then he talked about the transfers who have come in and how they fit. So, no, I'm excited. I thought last year they stumbled when they had the number next to their name in the beginning in Myrtle Beach. But I think they learned from that. And, he talks an awful lot about, what, at one point we looked in the mirror. We were 6-5. Mm-hmm. So what do we have to do? And then to go 15-3 through the conference. You talk about Reed Arena, undefeated in the SEC in the conference. And the 12th man knew they were making a difference.
Big time.
In that one. So I think it's just great. Yeah. Boots is back, Wade back, Wade getting that recognition. And four well enough to know that's all well and good. Let's go play. Let's go lead. Right. So looking forward to it. No and Joni in the podcast with Jamie Morrison was talking about with her team as well. She's right. She loves that confidence. But the things that they were getting praise for last year, that's now expected. Right. So that's what's next for them. But she said, used to give me a high five when I did that. I'm not getting that high five. And Joni's like, okay, that's expected from now on. You'll get the high five now this next level. So that's good. Buzz called her a star, by the way. and elite.
She's amazing. And actually, people should go back and find that podcast with her and Jamie.
Fantastic.
From last week. Mm-hmm. And we talk about strategy, but just sort of modern-day coaching and the innovation that you have to have and the recruiting and all the things that go into, leading a program in today's world. I think having her and Jamie, with what they bring to the table, that was a really special conversation.
That was fun.
So
I enjoyed
cool.
that. And I loved when Jamie and Joni started talking with one another. I didn't even need to be there.
Out of the way. Right.
That's exactly right.
Just stay out of the way. Let them do their magic. Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So with everything going on, let's get to those questions submitted by you, the 12th man. Again, you can submit at 12thman.com/ask Ross. So questions from the fans. We get into them right here. The first one, Ross, is Kyle Rayburn, class of 23 from Lufkin. He's going to need a little explanation here because he asks, there's been talk about the renovations of Reed Arena and possibly a new arena, but his question is, has there been any discussion about having a venue for hockey? They're the club team, and he says they are quite fun to watch.
Right. They are fun to watch. And I don't know a lot about club hockey, but they score a lot of goals. And I didn't know if you scored that many goals normally in hockey, but I've seen scores where we win like 25-10, and, stuff like that. So there must not be any offsides. There must not be any offsides in club hockey. But just, Kyle, just to be clear, club sports are run by campus recreation, student affairs. We do not operate club athletics here at Texas A&M, but there are national championship club teams all across the sports programs there in rec sports. So definitely proud of what they do. And yeah, there's some things that get attention like hockey. Have you guys ever been over to Spirit Arena?
I haven't. I've been to the arena. I haven't seen the hockey
games there. Have you ever
there.
tried to ice skate?
Yes.
That is hard.
It is a disaster.
It is hard. Yes. I can't do it.
I can't roller skate.
I can't do it.
It's fun.
My kids can pick it up like that.
See, the hockey that you're talking about, coaches hate.
Yeah.
Those kind of scores because it's called pond hockey or shinny. You're playing a game of shinny. Yeah. Very much
so anyway,
a Canadian
thing. Kyle, we can't skate. We don't operate hockey here. So that means there's no discussion about building a ice hockey arena on this campus or anything part of Reed Arena. So hopefully we can get to the discussion soon and the analysis on Reed and what happens with that project. And, do we build a new one? Do we renovate Reed? Those things are all happening, and just a lot of moving parts there, but no plans.
So no plans to put ice
to add hockey
in the floor
as
Reed.
A varsity sport to add ice, nor do you want any of us skating as examples of what bad hockey would look like. So
it would be an extremely short shift is what it would be.
Yeah. Appropriate question giving the weather change.
We'll hang in the penalty box. Yep. We'll stay right there.
But the team he is correct.
Yeah.
They are fun to watch.
Yeah.
When you see those scores. And Spirit Arena, I've seen pictures. I haven't ever been to a match over there, a hockey game, but the pictures, it looks like it's packed.
Yeah.
People are up against the wall, and it's not that big of a place, so it does look like a neat atmosphere over there.
All right, thank you for that, Kyle. And we'll move on to Frank Snell, who's class of 17. He's from Trophy Club, Texas. And he wants to know, has there been any thought to bringing back Power as the walkout song for Texas A&M football? And I think he referenced there's some venues this year that he has heard that song played at.
Yeah, look, Frank, no, there's no plans to bring back any of the previous songs. We are moving forward. The page has been turned. Actually, I think the atmosphere has been awesome when our team runs out of the tunnel. And look, we created some new music. I think we're going to play it we're going to add it to this recording. You can hear it in the background. It does get the place hyped. Kyle Field is one of the best atmospheres. I've had people this year come to games and they've never been to games at Kyle Field, and they're like, this is the best atmosphere I've ever been to. And I've been to lots of venues in college athletics. And so it's going to catch on. It's going to continue to grow. I love the way it builds up, and our team loves it. We added fireworks. This week the Mississippi State game, we'll actually see the fireworks at night, right? We have a 6:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
So it'll be dark by then, so we'll actually see the full effects. And I think it's going to continue to grow and evolve, and we're going to just move forward with what we have in place right now.
It's a well-done tune.
Yeah, it is well
done.
It
really is. And
again, we're playing it in the background. So
yeah.
And Ross, with the layers of everything, with the pyrotechnics, with the 12th man, it all works together. It's not just something that's isolated.
Right.
Just everything works. And I'm with you. I think the 12th man, once they start running out with everything, I think it's a great
you're up in the booth when the team runs out in the press box. It shakes.
It's swaying.
It moves.
Yeah.
So something's happening to get people involved, and that's the whole production. It's not just the song, it's everything that's a part of it. And so we're going to just continue to move forward in a positive direction.
One other thing real quick, Will always notices this, and we do as well. The 12th man there early, loud.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic all season.
Look, 11 o'clock, we're playing a South Carolina team who's 2-5, we're 4-3. Unbelievable crowd.
Great atmosphere.
95,000 people.
It's been fantastic.
And they were there. They were there.
They were
at kickoff.
Correct.
For that 11 o'clock game. And so that Aggies, they care and they show up and
special.
They make the atmosphere what it is. So
12th man, the best in the country, no doubt. This is where we get to a lot to unpack.
Yeah, this
portion.
Is an interesting question.
Because James McClure, class of '86 from Bryan, I guess it's a 3-part question here. So we'll compartmentalize here. But James asks, how do we connect our athletic needs with prospective portal transfers? That's question one.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to post our needs on social media so athletes see our needs and can contact our athletic department or specific coach? We'll unpack that to start with.
Yeah, I've never seen this question posed like this. So James is thinking kind of beyond sort of what's happening, if you will. And so how do we connect our athletic needs with potential transfers? Without tampering, there's really no way to do that, right? I mean, you can't contact, athletes at another school. I mean, those things cannot happen. I think what you can't really post, on social media, hey, we need a cornerback and an extra safety and an extra offensive lineman. You can't really do those kind of things either. But you'll hear coaches talk about depth at certain positions. You'll hear coaches talk about, when we're recruiting, we're focused on this position group. I mean, you'll hear that. What you do have happen is you do have scouting departments, and we have one here, and they're eyeing people where they've heard, hey, so-and-so has indicated they'll go in the transfer portal. Oh, I can look at Will's tape, and I can say, hey, does Will fit our program? So there are things you can do to get ahead of it, but you can't contact anyone until they enter their name in the portal. And so that's what you have to just be mindful of. And a lot of time, look, tampering is hard to prove. Coaches talk about it all the time, that things are happening sort of in third-party world and under the table that just should not be allowed. And those are the things that we're trying to combat across all of college athletics. But you can't really go out and post, we need this position, we need that position. But you can scout, you can watch film, you can hear things, and then when they enter the portal, then you can go talk to them.
Yeah. All right. I like what James threw in there also, because he said, I love the Pulse. Do other schools have a similar program?
And the host, the narrator of the Pulse.
He didn't say he loved him. Right. I mean, just the program in general. But
yeah, I'll just reference where I came from.
Yeah.
Ole Miss has what's called the Season.
Right.
And it's very similar.
They're very close to each other,
to the Pulse. And actually, when I was at Ole Miss, we were one of the first shows to get on an ESPN platform. And now here at A&M, the Pulse runs on ESPNU. I think it's typically Friday afternoons. I think it's kind of
starts
the first.
on Thursdays.
Is it Thursdays?
At various times, but then they'll
re-air
it Friday.
Yeah, we air it on Wednesday night.
First airings are Wednesday.
And then it shows
YouTube,
up.
it's obviously available as well. ESPNU starts it up on Thursday, but then you can get continuous airings on their channel Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. So we're one of the few programs that hasn't access like that. So, there are programs that do a very similar type show, but like we say, we think we do it the best, and 12th Man Productions and all the capabilities.
It's phenomenal.
It's a great platform.
Yeah, fun to do. And thanks for those comments and questions, James. And now we move on to who sometimes we might call the star of this show, or I mean, however you want to reference him, but at least a regular on this show. But it's Sutton Turner, class of '93 from College Station. He's coming at us with 2 questions today. One of them is in reference to our head baseball coach, Jim Schlossnagle. He loves how Coach Schloss, he sees him at events all the time. Coach comes to football. He'll be at basketball games, men's and women's. We've seen him at events on campus that may not even be athletic related. So he asked when you were recruiting Schloss to A&M as far as the hiring process, did you think he would be so involved in supporting all the other programs and fit into the culture here as well as he has thus far?
Yeah. It's hard to predict that specific, sort of analogy of fitting in like that. But you study personalities, you hear things about how they operate at their current school. In this case, Coach Schloss-Nagel at TCU. I had heard those kind of things, that he was highly involved in the athletic department. He was highly involved in initiatives outside of baseball, where he wanted to kind of understand the global context of college athletics. So we did talk about those things in the interview process, that he saw things at sort of a higher level, and he wanted to be a part of a broad-based athletic program. And he grew up in the Maryland area, right? And so basketball, like he's a huge college basketball fan. And I remember him asking about, hey, do I get tickets? And I'm like, you'll get invited with people that have good tickets. You probably won't need a ticket, because you'll probably, and sure enough,
he's
a lot of
right
times
there.
He's sitting courtside.
But yes, available if he needs them. But just probably not
That's
needed.
Right.
Yeah,
I think you'll be invited. But so yeah, it's hard to say, oh, this is exactly how it's going to play out. But personality, previous involvement, he's really big in connecting with our donors and our fans. And so I think what's really cool, and Coach Schloss-Nagel actually and I and Joni Taylor participated in a campus recruiting summit yesterday here in town, where it was a lot of leaders from across the campus who are involved in recruiting prospective students, not student athletes, but students. And they wanted to hear from coaches. So I moderated a discussion between Coach Schloss-Nagel and Joni. And so that's an example of how he's involved, and also Joni too, in other things besides just athletics. But one of the things that really resonated with the crowd is he goes, I believe in traditions and love the traditions here in A&M, but we can't be stuck on traditional thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you mix innovation with tradition and continue to grow? And I could see everybody in the crowd writing that down. Love tradition, but not traditional thinking.
Yeah.
And so he just thinks differently like that, and just been a great fit. And yeah, we went to the College World Series in the first year, and he put that bar at a really, really high level. But just the way he's built the roster, the program, the way he goes about things, it's just so much fun to watch. And
you've always had
can't wait to see what happens in February.
Good relationships with. Everybody thinks that it's separate, athletics and academics, and you've always won that bridge. Jimbo talks about it. Schloss will talk about it. Buzz, when A&M's on CBS or A&M's at a bowl game, or we are in Omaha and that team is on, Joni SEC tournament, Buzz NCAA tournament, and the other programs, that exposure on TV helps the university in general, not just athletics, and that's why you have to have that melding of the two, don't you?
Absolutely. We have to be a part of the mission and vision of the campus. We can't be separate. We can't be isolated. We can't be in our silo. So I'm actually, after we're done recording this, I'm going to a president's cabinet meeting, right? And so we have to have a seat at the table. So one, we can understand what's happening on campus, but also so the university understands that, look, athletics is not the most important aspect, but we're the most visible. Mm-hmm. And here's the elements that could impact visibility, could impact marketing, could impact how people view the university. They see that through athletics. There's a TV question on here about game times, and you can't put a price tag on being on ESPN or being on CBS or being on ABC primetime starting next year. Mm-hmm. Those things are valuable, and how we capitalize on that is key. But Schloss-Nagel, it's a great question from Sutton about the fit of Coach, and he doesn't play golf. He doesn't fish. He doesn't hunt.
He calls himself boring.
So he
does. Yeah.
He recruits.
Yeah.
He goes to Aggie athletic events, and he coaches.
Mm.
I mean, those are the things that he does, and so it's and obviously he's got family time built in there too. But outside of family time, those are the things he prioritizes.
Pick a coach on this campus that has not embraced the entire university. They're not just stuck in their program, and that's something special because that's not everywhere, Russ, is it?
Think about Buzz teaching classes over in the Corps, in the leadership program in the Corps of Cadets. He didn't have to do that.
Right.
but he's doing it because he wants to be ingrained. So pretty cool atmosphere we have going here at A&M.
Mm-hmm. Ross mentioned a TV question coming up. 2 to go. That TV question is one of them. But another one from Sutton here. He had 2 questions this time. And he's talking about that there's a narrative out there that A&M football has everything to be a championship program. And then Sutton asks, do you agree or disagree with this narrative? And if you agree, what continues in his mind to hold A&M football back from a championship program?
It's a fair question, from Sutton. And one of the things when we're in the midst of this season, hey, look, we're sitting here 5-3. Of course, we want to be better. We want to win those close games that we battled in. And so, look, he's right. Everybody says we have but we've said it. Jimbo's on record saying it, that everything is in place. I was asked, going into the season about, just perspectives and things like that. And I said the same thing. We have recruited at the highest level we've ever recruited at under Jimbo Fisher. We've invested in facilities, both short-term and long-term. We've invested in championship-level coaches. We have a coach who's won a national championship. And so that investment, yes, we want it to pay off. And so we're all working towards that. We're all trying to figure out what are those few things that are just missing. To me, we're just missing that one key moment to kind of get over the hump. We've had some injuries at the quarterback position. Those things, can happen. But to me, it's also about how does the program learn how to win? And that's everything. That's from the people who sweep the floors to the head coach, to the AD, to the fans, to the radio announcer, everybody, right? How do we learn how to win as a program? So we embrace the high expectations. Everybody is working every single day to figure out what are we missing? Why is this not triggered? Why is this not happening? What are those things? It's also part of it's luck too, right? We play in the best division, in the best conference, in the best era of college football history. I mean, think about the dominance, that Alabama has had. And so part of it is where you sit, and we sit in the toughest division. And so, look, we got to get over the hump. We're working on it. We understand the expectations. We embraced it. That's why I came here. That's why Jimbo came here. That's why we're all Aggies, because we embrace excellence, across the board. So what are we missing? No one really has that answer, right? Until it happens. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, okay, that got turned on. Oh, okay, we capitalized on this. Oh, okay, we continue to recruit. Our class right now, I think, is number third-ranked class so far in the class of 24 rankings. You've got to continue to do those things and then put all the other things together, and that's what we're working on every single day.
All right. One more to wrap us up here. That TV question, it comes from Keith Harrell in Maryville, Tennessee. Keith is class of 76. He begins with, seems like LSU gets a disproportionate amount of night games. We know the Tigers like those night games over there. But are there any toes that you can step on or that can be stepped on before games are picked? He loves the night games at Kyle Field, which we did reference. Next home game, November 11th, 6:30 against Mississippi State. He says he'd like to see A&M get a bit better TV treatment.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of that layers into kind of what we were just talking about, right? Part of it is who do you play? What's your performance looking like at that time of the year? They always, just to, again, unpack sort of the answer here, is the television windows always get set for the first 3 weeks. We usually find that out around the 1st of June. The first 3 weeks of the season, here's the game times. After that, you get down to what's called a 12-day window. So we just found out the Mississippi State game time yesterday. So October 30th, that game is on November the 11th, 12 days in advance. We found out game time. So what that means is TV wants who's hot. Who do they want as matchups? Who's hot? Are both teams playing well? And then that's how they pick those windows. CBS has the first pick. So would we love to be on CBS every single week at 2:30 Central Time? Of course. That means you're in the best game of the week, if you will. But that also depends on who are you playing and what is your record. The ESPN window, this will be our third game on ESPN at the 12 noon Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. ESPN loves a big matchup in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They love a high-impact program. So even though South Carolina was 2-5, we were 4-3, they wanted a prime matchup at a big place, at a place that's packed like Kyle Field.
Mm-hmm.
We had that in the Auburn game as well, the Ole Miss game. So that game always rates. So people think that, oh, we're stuck at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Actually, no, that's a desired spot big time from an ESPN perspective. Actually, I think you made the point earlier off camera. That game is actually picked before the prime time ESPN game.
I think surface level, people think, well, if you're at 11, they don't think that highly of your game. Actually, 11 is selected before plenty other games in the order.
So coming out of College Game Day, ESPN wants to say, we're going live to Kyle Field.
Yeah.
Look at that place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually a desired game slot on ESPN. Could you say that the SEC Network game, okay, that's a good argument to say, you know what, that's not as highly desired.
Mm-hmm.
And so that goes into next year. So next year, we fought long and hard for this as we were going through the whole process to renegotiate and expand the ESPN-ABC relationship. 2024 and beyond, we're going to have an ABC and ESPN window at 11 o'clock. The SEC network window could be something like 11:30, 11:45 Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you a little more of a buffer.
Interesting, yeah.
Perhaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have an ABC game on at 2:30. I'm talking Central Time windows. And then you're going to have an ESPN and an ABC primetime evening window. The other advantage of next year is we will actually know windows of game times in the summer, maybe even July and August. We'll know
past those first 3
the
weeks.
Mississippi State game on November 11th. It could be one of two options.
Okay.
And so we'll have windows of game times picked well in advance starting in the 24 season. So a lot more flexibility, a lot more windows. The 11 o'clock slot is not necessarily doomed for, no one's going to watch it. Next year is going to be ABC and ESPN. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a little more flexibility on the SEC network game time, and then a lot more windows when you add in the ABC windows. So just next year is just going to be a lot better for flexibility, knowing in advance when we play, at least windows. So I know it's frustrating to be kind of, we're stuck at 11 a.m. and why did that happen? Actually, the ESPN spot, it's a big time spot.
Yeah.
And it's if you look at the ratings, it's always rated, probably top 6-7 games of the week in that spot. So
football will be more like basketball in a way?
Football
the way we're playing Kentucky, and it could be ESPN, it could be two.
That's right.
Yeah, gotcha.
And we'll have those windows in the summer. So we'll pretty much have the whole season mapped out, at least in terms of options.
Yeah.
And the 12-day window will still apply when they pick the final, but we'll have options related to game times.
I think it's fascinating that we've come, and ESPN was so ESPN-centric. And what always got me, Ross, because of my age, ABC was first.
Right.
Then everything went to ESPN, and my thought is always this. You got to get over the air.
Right.
It's always and now ESPN rediscovering, if you will, ABC. And to leave the CBS window and now have ABC, it's an exciting move.
Yeah. Growing up in Southwest Kansas, in Dodge City, it was ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, right? And people always ask me, you had to grow up like a Kansas Jayhawk fan or a Kansas State Wildcat fan. I grew up an Oklahoma Sooner fan.
They were on.
Why? Because they were always on TV. Think about Nebraska, Oklahoma, playing Colorado, those old Big 8 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they were always on TV. Texas, Oklahoma. And I love the option. I love the way they ran the option. And I was like, that's
says a fullback.
That's my team. But you're right.
Yes.
ABC.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you had to be on ABC in order to get recognition. And so just times have obviously evolved a lot since then. But thinking about, I think, going back to an ABC primetime game, and obviously people are talking about our Texas matchup, and, think about when that game is played. If that's an ABC sort of primetime matchup, I mean, think about the magnitude
right.
of that game.
And you fight over
so
the
it'll be
Notre
fun.
Dame game too, correct?
The Notre Dame game.
Where you don't the year after because that's NBC.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
So opening weekend, Labor Day weekend, you're playing Notre Dame on Saturday. If that's a Saturday night game, I mean,
look out.
The ratings. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun once we have a little more flexibility. But I understand the question, Keith, all the way from Maryville, Tennessee.
Right. Yeah.
So he's on Eastern time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back to your point, getting a chance to see Kyle Field outside becomes, as I've said before, a bucket list type place for college
desired
football.
spot.
All right, guys.
So good stuff. Good questions.
Have
this
fun
week.
today.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a fun meeting, a great meeting
It will be.
to do that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And we always say, everybody stay safe, trick-or-treating, stay warm, too.
Stay warm. Get your candy.
And we can dig in now that we are done.
Oh, see, look, he's digging
I'm ready.
I thought you were done
Making
ready.
a mess.
with your pack of,
No.
what is that, nerds?
These are nerds.
All right.
That'll keep him going all day. That
Yeah, it will.
I am
kick.
It will.
pro the chocolate candy for Halloween.
I'm with you, but Ross gave me these, and I can't say no.
The
to them,
fruitier
so-
stuff, no.
No.
Chocolates. That's me when I'm trick-or-treating. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank
Thank
guys.
you. You bet.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
For Ross and Andrew, I'm Will. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to our producer, Matt Simon, and the crew at 12th Man Productions for bringing you this one. We'll see you in November for the next edition of the Yell and Review.